to my man today.
Who's that?
Ndamukong Suh.
Talk that.
Yeah. No, that's going to be disgusting.
Hold
It's going
on.
to be our overtime segment today.
Ooh, how does that not make the big rundown?
How? We need people to become members for $1.99 a month. You can be a starters tier member. $4.99 a month. You could be a coaches tier member and listen to this exclusive content. We got into the Kyrie stuff last week. That was some deep stuff with Bull and Brad. Great conversation. We're going to get into Ndamukong Suh.
You want that Suh heat, you better become a member.
Eagles. Yeah.
I see the Eagles didn't have a problem.
None at all. None.
He's a front runner, though, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
well.
at some point, we waited so long, he's like, nah, I ain't going to Cleveland.
Most people are.
Yeah. Well, look, if you're at his stage in the career,
Yeah, you don't have
you're
to.
chasing a ring.
Right.
You're
Would you
chasing
blame
a ring.
him?
No, I don't blame him at all.
I'm
And I
not.
figured he would wait half the season
To see what was
because
going on.
that's all he's got left in him at this
Yeah,
point.
then I saw
he
Tyvis-
can go hard, and he can be a difference maker in Philadelphia.
Tyvis made some comments yesterday about professional sports and athletes in Cleveland. We're going to talk about that today. Yes,
How about free agents? Now, that was in the text.
That was a
So
scintillating
nobody-
text conversation.
Yes, it was.
Right?
Yeah, it was.
talk
But
I
about
learned a lot.
he asserted that, and
it's-
he's talked to.
And it's absolutely true.
It is true.
It's
I've talked to athletes as
It's
well.
absolutely true.
And
People
there's
don't wanna
just a
come here.
stigma. They don't want to be here.
Yeah, free agents, big name free agents.
Big name free
don't want to
agents.
come here. And you got to pay them more than you'd like to if you get. If you
I don't
do
even
get
think, Mike, I don't think it's pay.
Nah.
No,
They
if
just
all
don't-
things were equal, they're not going to choose
But
Cleveland.
don't y'all feel like it was changing, though?
It was.
I
For
feel
a
it
minute
was
with LeBron?
Like when they got Odell Beckham Jr., we just thought that was just, even though it was a trade.
Yeah.
We said, well, look, he didn't have a choice, but we took it anyway. We start seeing names stack up a little bit.
So the problem is what happens is, okay, they break it up. OBJ comes here. And then ultimately something bad happens to
Yeah.
those people,
Yep.
right? And then they leave here.
Yeah,
and the rest
OBJ
of the-
didn't have a good experience.
And the rest of the people leave here, and then the rest of the people that watch it say, I'm not going over there. It's the same old thing going over
Even
here.
the way
right?
Jarvis Landry left a little bit. Like, I loved him for the first, 3 years.
Yeah.
But it just got to the last one where it was like, I even see people be like, oh, we got to get rid of Jarvis. And I was just like, dang, like, even him?
Don't
Like,
you think though it can turn around quickly in the same way that you said it was after that playoff appearance, after we won that playoff game, and Odell's willing to come here, other people are. I think that memory is short, and if we won games and if we won consistently, see, we just haven't had that much of an opportunity to test this theory because we don't win consistently.
You have to have a magnet to circumvent the perception that's out here.
Right.
It's why people go to Jackson State because Deion Sanders is there.
Only reason.
He's rewriting the perception.
The only reason.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why.
I
Right?
think
So
the
you,
test
until you
case-
get that.
Right.
It's Watson.
The test case in this experience, Watson was so much more money than anybody else.
yes.
But guaranteed tip.
But if he comes back and does well, people will say, oh, I'll go there now
maybe,
because he'll do that.
if they're winning. But
Yeah.
the test case here is Green Bay. Green Bay has been successful in our lifetime.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know where the are they lining up to go there? I remember one time Reggie White
No.
said that
No.
God
No,
told him to go
that's why
there.
Aaron Rodgers is so upset. He wants them to spend more money in free agency,
But
and
it's
Green Bay
Green Bay.
continues to say, we know free agents aren't going to come here. We're not going to pay the premium
No.
we need to get them there. We're going to go through the draft.
Exactly. And I remember there was a piece, I would say it was probably 10 to 15 years ago now, that ESPN, the magazine, did this big expose about how blacks didn't want to go there because nobody could cut their hair. This is a true story. They had to go to Milwaukee or Chicago to get
that's
the
crazy.
haircuts they wanted
They can't-
because it's Green Bay.
That's crazy.
And so, now, I'm not saying Cleveland's Green Bay. It certainly is not.
no.
But it's that same sort of cold weather, why would I want to be there mentality. And it's tough.
And I've told you guys before, I mean, Charles Oakley and I used to be arguing on the Bulls' private plane with the other Bull players about going to Cleveland, right? They had a perception of what Cleveland was, and we didn't like it at all, right? And so we were going to straighten you out one by one, from Jordan on down, about this place, right? And it's because the perception they have of it, it's the stuff you see on TV and the media. Cleveland, you look at this history, sports.
I
here it
remember
is.
being on fire.
It's
Didn't
all
help.
bad.
No.
I'm not going over there, right? Every time I
And
come
people
here,
don't
the sky is. You come here in the wintertime, very rarely sunshine. It's gloomy.
It's unpleasant.
And guys, people don't come to Cleveland on vacation, right? Like, it's not a place.
No,
It's not a vacation destination. It's not a city that a lot of outsiders move to. And so people don't know it. I mean, before I moved to Cleveland, I'd never been here. When I got my job in Cleveland in 2011, and when I first got offered a job in Cleveland, my first thought was Cleveland, like, because you hear things and whatever. And then when I actually spoke to people who had actually lived here, I had a totally different impression of the place because everybody I spoke to that I happen to know 3 or 4 people that had either were from here or lived here. They were like, oh, yeah, Cleveland's great. It's great. And now I know from living here a decade plus that it is great. But if you've never lived here, the perception is it's not a great place, you know, and it's not just the weather. Yeah, the weather sucks, but the weather sucks in Chicago, and people want to be in Chicago. And I'm not saying Cleveland doesn't have as many things to do as Chicago, but anybody that's lived here for any period of time will realize it's a great place to live for a lot of reasons. There may be less exciting things to do overall than some bigger cities, but cost of living's better, commuting's better. There's a lot of positive things about Cleveland, but if you don't know it and if you've never been here, then you're going to think bad things about it.
That's true. All right, let's tease what's coming up on today's show. DeQuell Jackson's going to be here. We're doing No Fence Riders. That's always fun.
Yep.
We're also doing pre-written headlines. And I don't know what the gist of Know Your Enemy is, but we've got a new Mike Polk segment called Know Your Enemy.
It's going to fill you in a little bit about Buffalo, why you should hate them.
Is it going to be fun?
I don't know. It'll be
Usually
all right.
is.
It's all right.
You usually bring the heat on these things.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Why we should hate Buffalo. Know Your
Why
Enemy.
you should hate Buffalo.
Okay, very good. I'm looking forward to pre-written headlines. That should be interesting. Obviously, the big story is the game is no longer going to be played in Buffalo. It's going to be in Detroit. Bull, you had some pretty strong thoughts on this move and the reaction to it on the morning call this morning, so I'll let you start.
Thank you, Jay.
What do you think about it?
Well, I first of all, I'm always annoyed when, like, this started with the Yankees, Guardians ran up. Fans are so paranoid. Like, if we want people to like Cleveland more, we can't be paranoid that everything is an attack at Cleveland. The NFL is not cheating for Cleveland to move this game to Detroit. I understand the line went up. This is an all-time snowstorm, okay? I don't even know if the Bills are going to be able to play in this game because, I mean, they will probably, but they're going to have a hard time. I don't know why they haven't left Buffalo already. But, like, fans getting all worked up, this is unfair. Like, people's lives are going to be at line. They're going to lose power. Like, this is an emergency in Buffalo. They can't be worried about playing a football game there when all hands on deck in terms of city workers are going to have to be trying to, get rid of snow and protect people and save people in the city. They can't be worrying about a football game. So it's for fans to make this about picking on the Browns is really ignorant and stupid. It's just ridiculous.
The thing I don't get about it, Bull, is, and I mentioned this already, but it essentially becomes an easier home game for the Browns.
Exactly.
Than for the Bills. So I don't know why anyone would think that the NFL's taking a shot at Cleveland by doing Buffalo a favor and stealing a game that would have the Bills Mafia home crowd and putting it in Detroit, where I don't know what the crowd's going to be. I'm fascinated to see when I turn on the TV which fan base is bigger, but I would guess it would be Cleveland just because it's a 3-hour drive for us, and it's going to be tough for folks to get out of Buffalo. Right.
Yeah, but they have a winning. They have a fervid fan base, as you know.
They do.
I mean, I just don't feel
damn good too.
It is damn good, but we're also a little behind this season, and they are not. They still have a lot more hope than we do.
Facts.
That's another thing, and I just don't see that a fan base that is sort of celebrated for its willingness to throw each other through tables off of the tops of cars is going to let a couple of feet of snow stop them from driving through those terrible conditions to Detroit. So I don't know how much safer it's going to be for the fans because they're all going to be leaving and probably driving further than they would have otherwise to go and see their football team, many of them.
So I say this, that if I can take the temperature of the people I've just talked to in the last 24 hours, there are a lot of people in Cleveland trying to figure out how to get to Detroit here, right? Because one, they figure out that it's close.
Sure.
They figure out that there's an understanding or hope that
it's cheaper too.
Tickets are going to be cheaper. To your point earlier, Jay, I don't have to go down and stay overnight. I can jump up and jump back in the same day, no problem. And I'm going to be in a climate-controlled facility. I'm not going to be sitting outside here, right? Then if I want to go down and do some gambling, do some other things, I can do that too, and then get back and be on work on Monday.
Shout out to Greek Town.
Right. And so this is the story, right? But I would just tell you, if you're living in Buffalo, as a person who, when a major snowstorm comes down, you ain't getting out of Buffalo. Nobody leaving out there.
It'll be tough.
It'll be tough. So
if they indeed get the
if
6
the Browns fans are nationwide as we know they are, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a decent Browns crowd in that stadium tomorrow.
I would think.
I mean, on Sunday.
I would think. I mean, I could be surprised, but I would think.
Here's two things. Here's what they could do to remedy all this moving around. And it's just crazy that we live in 2022, and these dudes is richer than the 12 disciples. These dudes got money. Like, why would you, and they should have learned from the COVID thing, why do they not have a facility? Every NFL team, if you want a team, has to have a NFL campus, so to speak, where it is a 5-star hotel that accommodates players and their families in the case of any inclement weather or in the case of pandemics. They just you bring your people. You people say, I need to go home. I got wife and kids. No. We got living facilities in here where we got chefs. We got the whole gambit. Your kids come in. Your wife comes in if they want to be at the game, and you put them up in this facility. And in an off season, you could turn that into a 5-star hotel where it's owned by the team. I'm sure you could do some things, and a lot of season ticket holders would want to go there. I just don't understand why cold weather teams ever in their lives don't have retractable roofs. If you're Buffalo, I would tell them.
Money.
They got money. They get billions.
But don't you know the deal? The owners want the taxpayers to pay.
Yeah, that's our problem.
But boy,
G. Bush, Buffalo's new stadium is a $1.4 billion stadium.
No
and
roof.
$850 million of that is coming from taxpayers.
and no roof.
And no roof.
Come on, bro. But yet and still, you mad because you losing revenue because we got to move it to Detroit.
Well, so here, be clear. Some people, to Jay's point, some of it is money because that happened at Brown Stadium when they were first building Brown Stadium back here, right? The community never really had a debate.
Right.
Do we want the roof or don't we, right? They saw the price tag and we'll just, we'll
It's like when you're shopping for a car.
on the roof.
Do you need the leather heated seats? They come with the price.
I sure do.
Some places, but you got to have a debate. Some places want to have it outside. Minnesota was in the dome, like Minnesota, the Golden Gophers were playing inside the Metrodome back in the day, right? Well, when they built their new stadium, they don't want to be in the dome. They want to be outside.
Come play in
Right?
our elements.
They want the outside. It's like Green Bay. They want to be outside. Right?
give them that.
Now, I don't want to be outside, but
Right, and in truth, we're maybe overreacting a bit.
Big time.
We have outside stadiums in cold weather cities. This is a very rare occurrence.
yes.
I mean, it doesn't happen very often. Now, if it happened 3 times a year or even once a year, then you might want to consider throwing a lid on it and just paying the extra price.
I wouldn't move
It's
the
the
game.
first time an NFL game's been moved since 2014.
I wouldn't move
It's the first time
thing.
in 8 years.
No.
And prior to that, I don't know when it happened before that.
I think 2005.
It may have been for weather. I do remember games being moved because of hurricanes, if
Yes.
I'm not
That-
mistaken.
that's different.
That's
For-
a different
for
story.
weather-specific
Right.
related issues.
For snow games.
Or
snow
yeah.
games, right.
I
You mean
would.
snow? Hurricane is weather.
No, I
Weather
know it is,
too.
but I think right now the discussion is more.
You're just talking about snowstorms. It's the
Yeah.
first time since 8 years.
Hurricanes to me are natural disasters.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. For me, I wouldn't move none of this. I wouldn't move this. If your
They
fans
have
get-
to, G.
If the
This is
fans,
an emergency in the city. They
if the
can't
fan-
be
if the
dealing
fan-
with a football game.
I mean, these dudes, you do know they played in a pandemic. You can't tell me they ain't a national emergency.
G, it's too dangerous.
well,
to clean up.
I mean,
Who's
COVID,
cleaning up the stadium?
They were playing football games with COVID.
No, I know, but
So-
the point that
his
Bull's
point
making,
is
and
right.
it's a very valid point.
It's a safety issue.
You could have 500 workers in
Right.
that
It's a
stadium
safety
with
issue.
snow blowers trying to get the seats ready and keep clear of the field.
Yeah.
You can do that with a foot of snow.
Right.
You might be able to do that with
They
18 inches of
They
snow.
talk 4 to 6 feet of snow.
But if you get 4 to 6 feet of snow, there's nowhere for that snow to go.
right.
Not just that, if all those, if it keeps snowing, you got that kind of depth around you. You got emergencies going on in there. People have a heart attack.
it
the
does seem a
ambulance
bit-
can't get in.
a bit misguided.
So they got to take all that stuff into consideration. I get that, and I do know. I want to hear this. And Adam, I want you to tell me this. I don't think that it's a conspiracy. I don't that the Browns. I think they're doing this for what they consider to be sensible reasons.
Right.
But it is at a football disadvantage to the Browns in a way, isn't it, Adam?
I mean, Vegas. Now, I agree with Jay that I think it's mixed because I think I think it will be a home field advantage for the Browns. At the very least, it'll be neutral, which it would not have been in Buffalo.
Right.
However, it is a benefit. The Bills, even though the Browns' run defense is terrible and most teams have tried to run it, the Bills' identity is all about throwing the ball, and I'm not sure they're. And Josh Allen with his injury, it's probably an advantage for him, and Vegas thinks it is an advantage. Because the line went up 1.5 or 2 points in favor of the Bills, and the over/under went up 8 points in this game.
Which you can
due
totally
to the game
understand.
I thought
being
that
closed.
was one of our best, one of our best things that we had going for us was the fact that this
Yeah.
was going to be just an absolute disaster environmentally.
Jim
I
Bush
felt
said it
like.
yesterday, though, and I agreed with you. They would lose if they played this game on the face of the moon. They would lose if they
Yeah.
played this game in Buffalo. They would lose if they played this game in Detroit.
Antarctica,
I think the
don't
gap
matter.
between the Bills
Yeah.
and the Browns is significant.
Yes.
It would take an effort like the Browns put forth against Cincinnati.
Yes.
And it would take an effort by the Bills that, and when you look at their losses, they haven't had a collapse, really.
Right.
You know, they got, I thought they got out-schemed by Miami.
Yeah.
They controlled the ball. They controlled the game. They did everything they could, but they just came up on the wrong side.
But based on our teams, if you had your choice between having our run-based team with our backup quarterback
Clearly you're
running
right.
in slop,
Clearly you're
or
right.
having
Yes.
him, or
Right.
having Josh Allen, a dinged-up quarterback who loves to throw and can throw very
Yes.
well, trying to throw
Sure.
in a blizzard, I would prefer to be playing in terrible weather.
And that's the smart play, and that's why the gap and the point spread went up.
I want to go back to I want to go back to what G said on the snow removal. Why they don't do it, G? In any municipality, when you get above a certain amount of snow, it's going to come to a stop. It's like when we got this 20 inches last year.
Right.
And I don't care where you were. There's nowhere to move it to. I mean, everybody's going to be in lockdown. I'm just going to try to carve you a 2-lane road to get out of here.
Yeah.
But it's going to be some days here. Now, when you talk about 4 to 6 feet, oh, that thing. And for those who don't know, live in Buffalo, Buffalo's like at the end of the wind tunnel. So if you got lake effect snow coming off Lake Erie, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
That wind swirl across Lake Erie is going to head straight to Buffalo. And when Buffalo gets hit, I had to learn this. Buffalo's not going to get, the whole city's not going to get hit. It's going to be a swath of Buffalo that gets buried.
So this is for Bull. This is for Bull. See how I'm gonna show
Yeah.
you something right here. This is how you can see. And you guys were right. You guys thought about that a little more. You guys are right. They probably should postpone the game.
Oh, I see.
You see how that
He's
works?
showing how he learned from listening. That's what he was showing you, Bull.
Yeah, there you go.
Did you
Yeah,
see
you
that?
were right, Bull. You bad job out of me.
Send that
that's
tape
a
to
grown-up
your girl.
statement.
I wish he was on
That's a
camera when he
grown-up
said it, though.
Send that tape
instead
to your
of
girl
this.
in D.C.
Yeah, let me see,
B-roll.
right?
Maybe she can learn something.
You know what? You guys are right. My better judgment.
You
That's
hear
why you got
this?
good people around.
America, when you listen and you're willing to accept.
Love it.
That's wonderful, G. Thank you for
well
saying
done.
that. You
Good
saved
job
some
by
lives
you.
in Buffalo, too.
Let's go
I agree.
to No Fence Riders because we've got a lot of questions today, don't we?
It is time. We have